Okay, let's see if we're on here. Okay, and it's the annual. Okay, we're on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Welcome to Halloween. This is the third annual Halloween show, and you might notice my Halloween costume. No, I'm not going as a deer hunter. I'm going as an Amish Fleet Farm shopper. These are the colors for Fleet Farm. I wrote to the Green Bay Packers back when they were terrible and awful, and I said, you should change the green and gold to green and blaze orange. And they didn't listen. Anyway, so, this is horrible. Maybe I should dye my beard. I was wondering how the blaze orange would come out on here, and it doesn't come out very well, But I'm proud of Wisconsin, and how about those Packers last night? Wow. Wisconsin's home to some of the great paper companies, printing companies in history. Quad, one of the great printing companies. Some of the greatest catalogs, Miles Kimball, Land's End, Uline, now in business to business, and hosts of others. Colony Brands, some great titles. Thank you for the cup of coffee over there from Phoenix. Sorry about the Cardinals last night. I was thinking of you. I hope you were at the game with some green and gold on. Hey there. Anyway, Wisconsin's a great flyover state that most people haven't discovered, and we're just fine with that because, we know that we'll make it through winter, whether you do or not, down in Texas. Anyway, so let's get over to the news, and let's see what comes up on the screen. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so we'll start off with this. Giving raisins, okay? So Sun-Made Raisins offered a thing on TikTok. They offered cleanup kits that help de-egg, get rid of eggs that are splattered on your house, and collect all the toilet paper that will be deposited on the property. Sun-Made also announced a $5,000 prize for the fan who shares what a Raisin House means for them. I'm not sure if there's judging on this or how that contest works, but because of their ads, Sun-Made claims that they grew 3,200% in followers. Okay. So but I couldn't find one response to this. Here's the best one I found. I looked at, maybe a dozen. So we'll get over to the responses to the Sun-Made. Here's the girl announcing that you need to do a TikTok telling that why you're a Raisin House without saying Raisin House. And I don't know what that means. The following part of this commercial had tombstones with raisin on the epitaph, or whatever you call the writing on a tombstone. And I think they're taking off on like raising from the dead. I'm not 100% sure. The whole thing's lost on me, which obviously I'm not on the TikTok crowd, but I do have a TikTok account. And I think I have actually posted a couple of videos. So anyway, we'll watch this. But this is a response to someone who wanted to tell you that they were a Raisin House. Here we go.
Tell me you're the Raisin House without telling me you're the Raisin House.
I will pass out raisins on Halloween. Nobody comes. Nobody wants raisins on Halloween. I mean, I like raisins. Nobody's coming to their house. Nobody comes to my house either. Can you imagine? So she's got a whole bowl of raisins. I can't tell if this is how serious this is or not. If this is from Sun-Made, and they're just making fun of themselves.
Tell me you're the Raisin House without...
But it seemed like everybody else was making fun of it too. So great that you got followers. I don't know how many raisins you're going to sell with this thing. And that's the trouble with that, probably win awards because they'll keep saying over and over, we grew our followers 3,200%, which is, depends on where you started from, right? Maybe you only had 3 followers on TikTok. Why would anybody follow Raisin Sun-Made Raisins? I can't think of a reason. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the news. Here we go. Turn this off. Okay, so much for that. Tink. Okay. Now, Apple announced that they changed the rules. This is from Ray Schultz, my old friend Ray Schultz. I always like to see what he's up to. And it sounds pretty good because they took out a paragraph that says you can't do any emails or anything to contact individual users outside of the app. Okay, can't do that. They took that away and said the apps may request basic contact information as long as the request is optional. Okay, such as email address. Okay, and then so they can opt out, and you can't ask kids. Okay, so this was part of a settlement on a $100 million lawsuit with developers that said you're not even letting us talk to anybody. I don't know how it all shakes out, but I mean, it's good that they let you talk to your own customers, right? But Apple has lots and lots and lots of rules. Okay, well, let's get over to direct mail news for today. And this was a shocker to me. Direct mail advertising jobs fell 3.5%. And, I've already covered that the pandemic was really hard on direct mail. So I cover direct mail news almost every day here on the show. And we're barraged with people saying, you ought to try mail, you ought to try mail. And I can tell you, I can predict the future here. Because what happens is the same thing that happened in the late 80s, early 90s when direct mail and direct marketing were hot buzzwords before the internet. And I helped people launch catalogs. That was how I got started. And what'll happen is they'll go to their ad agency and they'll say, let's try some mail. And the ad agency will say, okay, sure, cool. And they'll take something like the TikTok thing that Sunmade did, and they'll put the girl on the cover, and they'll say, prove you're a Raisin House or something. And maybe they'll generate views because they'll have a QR code on it, and that'll be it. I worked with Oakley a little bit. USPS actually hired me to go work with big brands, and they tried mail, and that's where it stopped. The thing that makes mail work is that it gives you more insight into who engaged with it and didn't buy. It gives you more insight into who your buyers aren't. I think that we could boil it down to that. Because other media throws itself away. Other media vanishes once it's done. So if we just keep going on this path, this will continue. And it will probably continue for the majority of people who actually buy in and try mail. So if you're a printer out there or a direct mail house and you don't want to be part of this shrink that's gone on for almost more than 10 years. Yeah, since 2008 I think was the peak, or 8 or 9. So if you don't want to be part of the shrink, then join the WDMA and let's get in touch. Okay, now last to Ritson. Apparently Facebook, you probably already heard this, has changed its name to Meta. Could be Meta. Okay. And apparently there's a really scary book about the metaverse and how people will live inside of computer-generated worlds. I thought this was interesting. Apparently Zuckerberg did like an 80-minute talk with perky executives coming in and just dropping in on his house, his island paradise house. But, island paradises get cold, so he has to have a heater. That's a Wisconsin thing, only not probably inside the house. We put it outside the house. Anyway, and so, it was all scripted. He's a fake person talking about a fake world. And of course, Mark Ritson tees off on it. First of all, Facebook isn't going away. Facebook is still going to be called Facebook. But all the other brands that Facebook has acquired, especially AR stuff and virtual stuff, will be part of this overall arching Meta. Okay, and so it's not the Facebook website; it's the company that owns Facebook. It's a little complicated if you're not into branding stuff. So Facebook now becomes one of many brands within a company called Meta, which Zuckerberg calls the next chapter, which will be a suite of disconnected brands. Okay? And meta can mean beyond. I think metanoia means repentance, and maybe that was what Zuckerberg was after. I was surprised Ritson didn't put that in there. I don't speak Greek, but my kids are Greek, and my grandkids are Greek. And we go to Greek church sometimes. Most of my kids go to Greek churches. Okay, the decision to name the whole company Facebook was stupid back in 2019, Ritson says, and it's not gotten any smarter. So the perky executives, he says, are going to cocktail parties in Silicon Valley and telling people they work for Facebook, and then they cry outside with a glass of Chardonnay in their hand at the reaction. Zuckerberg hopes the rest of his empire will be cut a little more slack, but probably not. Zuckerberg says that the Meta is the focus on the future, but most companies that dominate the current chapter are usually killed off early in the next chapter. And Zuckerberg talks about how Meta is going to be fair, open, people at the center, and Ritson asks if it occurred to him that the fit between the vision of the company and the company he runs are so far apart as to be insurmountable. I mean, I think we're all looking for this, but let me tell you where I've been at on Facebook this week. Okay, I'm part of a group, and they post pictures. They post hunting pictures, and I didn't connect that with this, but yes, I am trying to hunt. Hunting is much more about sitting in a tree and becoming a popsicle than any other factor. Okay, and we're overrun with deer, so it's sustainable. Let me just tell you, it's more than sustainable, especially for the deer. But on that group this week, they were talking about a similar group in Indiana, and that group vanished off the face of the earth Monday. 35,000 followers gone without a trace. One of the admins we've emailed back and forth a little bit. We talked a little on Facebook or exchanged messages, and he said, it's like it never existed. And another guy chimed in, and he said that he'd been part of a group of 95,000 members, private Facebook group, gone without a trace, just a couple days ago, maybe last week, or 2 weeks ago or something. But anyway, he said that they went back. They actually dug into finding out why, and it turns out that the Facebook, the faceless face of Facebook went back through 5 years of group posts. If anybody in your group posts something that they don't like in the past 5 years, even though their policies may have changed in the last week, I guess they expect you to go back for 5 years and find out if there's anything wrong there. Gone. 95,000 followers. There was probably at least a half a dozen that talked about how they just vanished in the last few weeks. Just gone. That's the face of Facebook. Zuck. And it stinks. It's nothing illegal about hunting. It's a part of our culture, and as I said, it's perfectly sustainable. The deer eat the foliage. I'm a plants' rights advocate, and now maybe I'll be gone from some other channel. But I'm not saying you have to do it, or you have to listen to hunters, or you have to, be friends with hunters. But when you're imposing your will or trying to on a society, there's going to be pushback, and there is. And basically, all the comments were, if we can find something else, we're going to go there. We're just looking. We're just looking for something else so that Meta can be meta'd right out of existence. And Zuck, you might want to metanoia, repent, because it's very sad what's going on. It's very sad what is happening behind the scenes that nobody wants to talk about. So happy Halloween. Where did my beard go? Oh yeah, go back like this. They finally got me to wear a mask. Ho, 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 ho. Happy Halloween from the Wisconsin DMA. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. We'll see if we get any views. I mean, at least it's odd. At least it's different. Here, let's go back to camp. At least it's different, right? Bye bye. I'm scary enough as it is. Okay, how do I shut this off? I've lost my mind. I can't remember the